They say that holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else, but you are the one who gets burned. You look at your hand and it is charred, it is scarred, and the person you're angry with, they are out dancing, they are out living their life, totally unaware that you are standing there holding fire. It is time to drop the coal, not for them, but so your hand can finally heal. Welcome to the Midlife Reset Manual. We are tackling the hardest word in the English language today. Forgiveness. I know your stomach tightens just hearing it because we have been taught a lie about forgiveness. We have been taught that forgiving means saying what happened was okay. We have been taught that it means reconciliation, that you have to hug the person who stabbed you in the back. That is not forgiveness. That is martyrdom, and we are done being martyrs. I want to talk about the heavy, invisible backpack you are carrying, every betrayal, every unkind word, every time you were overlooked. You put a rock in that backpack, and by the time you reach 50, that backpack weighs 100 pounds. You are exhausted, not because you are getting older, but because you are carrying a museum of past hurts everywhere you go. You are trying to run a marathon in a suit of armor made of resentment. Let me introduce you to Brenda. Brenda is 53. She is a vibrant woman with a successful bakery, but her eyes were always tired. She came to me because she couldn't sleep. She told me about her sister 10 years ago. Her sister borrowed a significant amount of money from Brenda. Brenda had saved for a house, and she never paid it back. In fact, she went on vacation with it. Brenda cut her off, rightfully so, but every single day for 10 years, Brenda had a conversation with her sister in her head. She screamed at her in the shower. She argued with her while kneading dough. She prosecuted her while driving to work. The sister was living 3 states away, probably not thinking about Brenda at all, but Brenda was living with the ghost of her sister every minute. She told me, I want justice. I want her to apologize. I told her, justice is not getting an apology. Justice is you getting your peace of mind back. Brenda looked at me and started to cry. She realized she had spent 10 years being right, but she had also spent 10 years being miserable. In that moment of clarity, she understood that the money was gone, but she was letting her sister steal her joy too, and that was a theft she could stop. Right now, Brenda's story is a mirror for all of us. We think our anger protects us. We think it keeps us safe from being hurt again, but it acts like a wall that keeps the bad guys out, but also keeps the love and the light out. You become a fortress. And fortresses are lonely places to live. Let's dig into the science of this. When you are in a state of unforgiveness, your body is in a chronic state of fight or flight. Your cortisol levels are high. Your blood pressure is up. You are literally aging yourself faster by holding on to the grudge. Forgiveness is not just a spiritual concept. It is a biological necessity. It is the only way to tell your nervous system that the war is over, that you are safe now. But I hear you asking, how do I forgive the ex-husband who left me with nothing? How do I forgive the father who was never there? How do I forgive the boss who fired me? The answer lies in shifting the definition. Forgiveness is not about the past. It is about the future. It is cutting the elastic band that snaps you back to the trauma every time you try to move forward. Let's talk about a different kind of forgiveness, the one we rarely discuss, self-forgiveness. This is usually the hardest one. Meet Julianne. Julianne is 49. She is divorced and raising 2 teenagers. She carries a crushing weight of guilt because she feels she stayed in her toxic marriage too long. She feels she damaged her children by exposing them to the fighting. She looks at her son's anxiety and she blames herself. She says, if only I had left sooner. If only I had been stronger. Julianne was treating herself like a criminal. She put herself on trial every morning, and the verdict was always guilty. I asked her, if your best friend came to you with this story, would you tell her she is a monster? Would you tell her it is all her fault? She said, no. I would tell her she was trying to keep her family together. I would tell her she was scared. I asked her, why do you deserve less mercy than your best friend? Julianne stopped breathing for a second. She realized she was holding herself to a standard of perfection that is impossible for humans. She realized that she couldn't change the past, but she could be a happy mother now. And a happy mother is better than a guilty mother. Forgiveness is surgical. It separates the person from the pain. It acknowledges that the scar will always be there, but the wound doesn't have to bleed forever. When you forgive, you are not saying, I like what you did. You are saying, I am no longer willing to be the victim of what you did. I am taking my power back. I am evicting you from my headspace because the rent is due and you haven't paid. I want you to visualize something with me. Imagine you are holding a rope, and on the other end of the rope is the person who hurt you. You are pulling, and they are pulling. It is a tug of war. Your muscles are straining. Your hands are bleeding. You are exhausted. You think the only way to win is to pull them over the line. But the only way to win is to drop the rope. Just let go. Watch them fall back, and watch yourself stand tall, free with your hands open. But dropping the rope requires a technique. It is not something you just decide once. It is something you practice daily, because the ego wants to pick the rope back up. The ego loves the drama. The soul craves the peace. I have a specific ritual, a method called the release letter. It is distinct from the burn letter we talked about before, because this one focuses on compassion for yourself, not just anger at them. This ritual is powerful. It has helped women release decades of resentment in a single afternoon. It changes the neural pathways in your brain. It takes you from the victim seat to the driver's seat. I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it, step by step. In the next part of this manual, because you deserve to know how to put the backpack down. You deserve to walk light. Before I give you the keys to this freedom, I need to know you are ready to receive them. I need to know you are done suffering. Click that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell, because what comes next is the practical guide to unburdening your soul, and you do not want to miss the moment your life gets lighter, the release. Letter is different from any letter you have written before, because the goal is not communication. The goal is eviction. You are evicting the tenant who has been squatting in your mind rent-free. Here is the protocol. You sit down in a quiet place and you write a letter to the person who hurt you. You start by listing exactly what they took from you. You took my trust. You took my financial security. You took my belief in love. Be specific. Do not gloss over the pain. But then comes the shift. The second half of the letter is where the magic happens. You write, I am taking all of this back now. I am taking back my trust. I am taking back my security. I am taking back my belief in my own future. And then you write the final sentence, the sentence that breaks the chain. You write, I release you to your own destiny, and I return myself to mine. You do not send this letter. I repeat, you do not send it. Sending it invites them back into the drama, and we are exiting the drama. You read it out loud to the empty room. Hearing your own voice say, I release you, is a command to your subconscious. Then you destroy the letter. Shred it, burn it. Watch it disappear. Just like their power over you is about to disappear. Let's go back to Brenda. The woman whose sister stole her savings. Brenda wrote her release letter on a Sunday afternoon. She took external action. You can forgive your ex-husband for the betrayal and still refuse to speak to him without a lawyer present. You can forgive your toxic mother and still choose to spend Christmas at your own house. Forgiveness says, I wish you well. Boundaries say, I wish you well over there, way over there. There is a concept I teach called the Golden Gate. Imagine your life is a beautiful estate. You are the owner. Forgiveness is cleaning up the graffiti someone sprayed on your walls, but having a gate and a lock and a security camera. That is just good management. Do not confuse cleaning the graffiti with leaving the gate unlocked. You can have a clean heart and a locked gate at the same time. So what happens when the anger comes back? Because it will. You will hear a song that reminds you of them, or someone will mention their name, and you will feel that familiar spike of adrenaline. That is not failure. That is just a muscle memory. When that happens, I want you to use the pivot. You acknowledge the feeling, I feel angry right now, and then you immediately pivot to gratitude for where you are. I am angry about what happened then, but I am grateful that I am safe now. I am grateful that I survived. I am grateful that I learned the lesson. Reframing the past is the final step of healing. We often look at our wounds as evidence that we are damaged goods. I want you to look at your wounds as evidence that you are a warrior. The Japanese have an art form called kintsugi. When a piece of pottery breaks, they don't throw it away. They put it back together with gold glue. The cracks are still visible, but they are filled with gold. The bowl is actually more beautiful and more valuable because it has been broken and repaired. You are that bowl. Your divorce, your job loss, your betrayal. Those are the cracks, but your resilience, your wisdom, your capacity to forgive, that is the gold. Do not hide your cracks. They are the most interesting thing about you. They prove that you cannot be destroyed. I want you to take a deep breath right now. Inhale the possibility of a life without heavy baggage. Exhale the names of the people who hurt you. Let them go like smoke. You have so much life left to live. Do not spend another minute of it looking in the rearview mirror. The windshield is huge. The road ahead is open, and you are in the driver's seat. Forgiveness is the key that starts the engine. Turn the key, drive forward, and don't look back. You are free. If this message helped you drop even one stone from your backpack, then my work here is done. But your work is just beginning. Share this video with a woman who needs to hear that it is okay to let go. We are a sisterhood of survivors, and we are stronger when we heal together. Subscribe to the Midlife Reset Manual because we are going to keep filling those cracks with gold. Thank you for being brave enough to forgive. I will see you in the next video.